All right, so we are recording. This is Psych 105, Infant and Early Childhood Development. I'm Dr. McMunn. Welcome to the class. This is a different, a different format than I'm used to teaching, but certainly we're going to get through this. I think I saw some of you, maybe one or two of you might be in my PSY-100 course. You'll notice that I have a very similar feel to how I set up these courses with the projects and the assignments and things of that such. So the only thing that really changed is the content. So if you probably know some of this stuff already, so you're welcome to chime in if anybody has any questions and help out along here. If you have any questions about the course or anything in general, go ahead and use the group chat, and I'll be getting to some stopping points throughout today's interaction, and I'll answer those questions for you. So what I'd like to do is just kind of introduce myself. I'm Dr. McMunn. This is my second year teaching at ESU. Previously, I taught at Harrisburg Area Community College, and I teach online at Upper Iowa University as well. I've been teaching for about 6 years now. I've been in the field of psychology for about 8. I was in the military for nearly 20 years prior to that, which had nothing to do with psychology, although I think I used it a lot with my troops. But anyway, I kind of took a liking to helping people. I'm a therapist part-time, and I do see some clients, and I enjoy what I do. I have an extensive history working with children in behavioral settings, and that kind of what brings me here today to talk to you about. So child psychology is, it's different, but it's similar to what mental health issues we see with adults. And of course, it's no surprise that early childhood trauma and early childhood developmental delays and environmental and cultural issues can bubble up into things later on in adulthood. Okay, so it's really important to understand that. For some reason here, okay, sorry, I'm looking at my screen here. So to that end, anyway, we're going to kind of go through the process of prenatal development all the way to, we're going to try and get to adolescence. We don't always get there. So sometimes we just have, in my past classes that I've taught, we just get into some really good discussions. And when we get into the group projects and the group assignments, we just have a lot of fun with that. So before we get started here, let me check out our questions. I was unable to open the syllabus on D2L. I heard somebody sent me an email about the syllabus on D2L. How many of you, and you can just say, I'm having a problem. If you just want to unmute your microphones, that'd be great. I'm accessing it through. All right. So how many people are unable to open the syllabus?
I was unable to. It said the content was unavailable.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a D2L issue. I tried uploading a PDF version of that, and for some reason, I'm having a problem. It's something on D2L's end. I will make a note of that and address that today. So I apologize.
I'm sorry, is it different from what you sent in the email, or is it the same exact thing?
I made some changes to it, but nothing really, just kind of some of the wording. Everything else is pretty much the same. But what I may do is just resend that out PDF to everybody, so everybody has the most updated copy. So again, I apologize. I will be reaching out. In fact, I'm gonna make a note right now to reach out to D2L. All right. All right, so what are some of the other questions? Are the assignments and discussion posts for D2L the same? I'll get into that. I'll answer that here when I go through the assignments. Is there a specific time that posts need to be entered on the day that they're due? How do we let you know we want to be in the group project. Okay, I'll address all those here shortly. As far as how this class is set up, I did set this up as an asynchronous class. So what that means is that we're going to have due dates, all due dates and times. Well, the times are going to be 11:59 p.m. So basically midnight on the day that it's due. You'll have access to it the Monday of whatever week we're in. So for example, we're week 1, you'll have access to everything in week 1, and most things are going to be due towards the end of the week. And I'll go through what's due and when as we go through the syllabus and walk through with the D2L. So these Zoom sessions are not necessarily mandatory. I'm not requiring anybody to be here. I'm not taking any attendance. This is for you. If you want that extra level of support, I will go over some of the theoretical concepts. I'm not going to have time, obviously, to go over everything in the chapter, but certainly I'll hit upon some of the bigger issues and do some fun little projects and activities along the way. So you're welcome to attend this, but this is by no means mandatory to attend. And I see a couple people jumping off now. Great. So anyway, there's I will be recording these and posting these to D2L. I don't post it anywhere else. It is out in YouTube, but it's unlisted, so nobody can search me or search the video. But if you have the link, you have the link, and you'll be able to access it then. Let's see, go through some of these other questions. I'm accessing this through my phone because I'm currently waiting. Okay. No, that is not an issue. You can attend however you want. If you want to see, what I do ask is if you're okay with it, if you're okay, turn on your cameras. I do this job because I enjoy working with students. I enjoy teaching, and it kind of just helps me to see your smiling faces out there. So if you're okay with that and you're in presentable shape, you know, obviously don't do anything that would be compromising your privacy, but most likely my connection is pretty okay. Nothing is frozen. Okay. APA style. So let me talk about APA style before we really get into much else here. So APA in the field of psychology, many of you are probably going into education. I get a lot of nursing students or medical students. Sometimes I get management. I might get psychology students in this course. But throughout any psychology class you take is going to probably require APA. So I hit kind of hard upon it. I use it a lot with my PSY-100 classes, and I do use it here in PSY-105. So all assignments should be APA format. And if you don't know what APA is or you're unfamiliar with it, I have some links in D2L that I'll show you where they're located. And just certainly you can reach out to the writing studio at ESU or tutoring services if you need that extra level of support. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you so we can walk through the syllabus together. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and post those. And I will address those when I get to a good stopping point. Okay. Okay, you should all be seeing the syllabus. Pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go over this line by line, but just hit upon some of these bigger issues. So the textbook that we're going to be using is KL 2015, Children and Their Development. I changed this book. This is actually a brand new book for me. I used one by... I can't remember the author last year, and it was really written at a very much higher level. A lot of biology included in it, a lot of medical terminology. It just wasn't a very user-friendly book. So I changed the book this year. I reviewed it, and I think this is a much better book. It deals a lot more with developmental concepts and theories, and some of the major players like Piaget and Kohlberg and Erickson. So that's what I like about this book, and that's what we'll be delving into a little bit more this semester. So anyway, as far as the Revel version, I used the Revel version because I ran into an issue last year with the bookstore where they ran out of books. I think my first day or my first week, only about 25% of the students had the book because they ran out of stock at the bookstore. So I like the Revel version because it's available like immediately. If you didn't purchase it, I believe you have a 21-day trial on it. So if you ordered a hardback version of the book and you're waiting for that, you could still access the book, I believe, and unless something has changed through Revel. But and I'll show you where that link is here shortly. So anyway, if you choose to get a hard copy version of this, you're more than welcome to do that. I don't care either way. I don't really use any of the functions in Revel. I just use it for access to the ebook, and it's much cheaper than the brand new hard copy version, which I think is about $215. So it is a cheaper version to that. I do use it for the quizzes. So if you don't have it, a lot of the information is pulled directly out of the book for the quizzes. So if you don't have that, quizzes might be a little bit challenging for you. So if you want to get the e-text, as long as it's the Kale, Children in Their Development, 7th edition, you should be fine. The ISBN that I included here is the Revel version, but you can get whichever one you want. The other requirement, and I'll talk about this more later, is the use of the program Packback. So Packback, put simply, is it's an engagement tool. It's better. I think many of you that have taken online courses before probably have done discussion posts. And the discussion posts are great, but I find that they tend to be a little bit dry after a while. They tend to be the same topic and the same thing being regurgitated over and over and over again. And I don't find it very engaging. So this summer I sought out some tools that would be a little bit more engaging, more shows a little bit more participation with the students and from me. And I found Packback, which is, it's not an expensive service. Unfortunately, there is a $25 fee that is associated with that, but we will be using that for our participation alongside of D2L. So we won't have discussion posts, which is the good news, but we will be using that external tool, and I'll show you where all those links are and how to set that up here shortly. All right. As far as the quizzes, so I really set up this class to be no fail. It's very, very hard. I'm not going to say impossible, because once in a while, very rarely, I'll have somebody fail my classes. This is PSY-105. Many of you are here for a reason, because this goes along with your career path or your major or a minor or something. So I generally don't have any issues with 105, but this class is really designed to make you succeed, to help you succeed, and give you all the tools that you need to do that. To that end, I've really built some things into this that are really easy for you, the students, like the quizzes, for example. I mean, show of hands, how many people just do not like quizzes and tests? Okay, I think I have just about everybody's hand up. Okay, I'm one of them. I'm not a fan of quizzes, especially online, because there are just so many ways to circumvent the integrity of the test, and I'm well aware of what happens with those. So I don't put a lot of stock into the quizzes. However, I do want to know if you have at least seen the material that I'm presenting, or it's being presented through the book, and that's how we do that through the quizzes. So the quizzes are really directly from the book. I handpicked these items to accentuate some of the topics that we're going to be dealing with. They are a pool of 20 to 30 questions per quiz. You're only going to see 10 of them. So when you take the quiz, I do require an 80% as a pass rate. You can take it as many times as you want. Yeah, so if you get a 100 on your first attempt, you don't have to worry about anything. If you get an 80, and that's really all I'm going to require. If you get a 70, you'll have to take it again in order to get the 80, and it may not be the same questions. Okay, so just be aware of that. If you get an 80 and you want to practice and take it again and either get a higher score or just see what the other questions are, you can do so, and there's no penalty for doing that. So once you achieve that 80, you keep that, whatever your highest score is. So if you get a 90 and you go back and you take another quiz and you get maybe 5 out of 10 correct, you'll still maintain that 90%. Okay. So, and that's important to know, because for the midterm and the final, you're going to be using those quizzes to really study from them, because everything on the midterm and the final are going to be pulled directly from the quiz. So just be aware of that. All right, class participation. Again, Packback is going to be what we're using instead of discussion posts. So many of you probably already received your Packback instructions, and that's great if that happens and you responded to it. Excuse me. If for whatever reason you didn't receive that, check your junk mail. It might be something from, if you look at help@packback.com, if you do a search for that, you might see something in there. Excuse me, I've been talking all day. So check your junk mail. If you haven't received anything, go ahead and email, use this link here and email help@packback.com or .co, and reach out to them, let them know you're in Dr. McMunn's PSY-105 at ESU, and they'll set you up with what you need to get going. Okay. It is almost 13% of your grade. So if you choose not to do that, just be aware that there's really no way to make that up. For the assignments, I did see a question about the assignments. I just want to make sure I'm, okay, I addressed that. I'll talk about the group project. Okay, assignment 1, and I'll get to that as well here when we get to D2L. So assignments, pretty straightforward. We're going to have 13 assignments throughout the course, each worth 20 points each. Here's a snapshot of the rubric in case you want to know what I'll be looking at, just making sure that all of them, all the topics, all the issues are addressed in an essay format. So APA, very simple. It's double spaced, 12-point, Times New Roman font. If you want to include a title page, you're more than welcome. I'm not requiring it for the weekly assignments. However, if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. And at the end of the assignments, especially if it's out of the book or something you're referencing from the book, make sure you have a reference page, and that's an APA format as well. So no real big surprises there. And I'll show you where you can access the assignments here in D2L just in a few minutes. The exams, I have 2 exams set up for this course, the midterm exam and the final exam. Midterm exam is going to cover chapters 1 through 8, and the final exam will be 9 through 15. So it's not, the final exam will not be comprehensive. So once we complete the midterm, you can kind of do your store and dump. If you don't want to retain your notes for the chapter 1 through 8 quizzes, you don't have to, because the final exam will cover just chapter 9 through 15. Okay. Class project. So what I built into this class for a couple of reasons. Trust me, I went through high school and I went through college, and my least favorite activity was group projects. However, I'm very thankful for the lessons that I learned from those group projects, because I had some great experience with group projects. I had some terrible experiences with group projects. And that's kind of the point of this, is many of you are going to be professionals working out in hospitals and in schools and in clinics and in office spaces. And almost all of you are going to be involved in collaborating in some kind of group project. And that's kind of what this is designed to do. And I use it for a couple of reasons. First is it's, many of us are very isolated. We're in this online environment and we don't have a lot of engagement from other students. So this provides a means for us to collaborate together and get to know one another a little bit better. Okay, so that's part of it. The other part is being able to give you good, solid feedback on your group assignments, as opposed to doing, I think we have 92 people in this class. So that would be 92 papers that I have to go through, and it takes time to get feedback. And it, I do my best to get quality feedback, but the fewer papers I have, the better quality of feedback I can give you on your format and everything like that. So those are the big reasons why I use the group projects. So really the dates or the weeks that you really need to pay attention to are week 2, the end of week 2, week 4, week 6, 9, and 12. So these are when the group projects are going to be due. Now, week 2, And I'll go over this a little bit more in detail next week when we get to week 2. But for the first assignment, it's just simply an evaluation that each one of you will take to kind of gauge where you are, what your strengths are. Are you somebody that likes to present? Are you like somebody that likes to be in a leadership role? I look at all that, and based on that, I can put you into groups that I think you're going to be most successful. I do give you the option. One of 3 options you can choose is you can, if you know people in the course here, you're more than welcome to buddy up with 4 other people. I do ask that you have 5 people to create your own group, and that they're on board with it. I've had that happen where sometimes they'll pick somebody and they're not aware that they were picked. So just be aware that if you turn in this evaluation and you have everybody's name on it, everybody's name matches each other's. So please, if you could do that. And I'll talk more about that next week. The other option you have is to just do the evaluation, and I'll place you into a group. It's not random assignment. I do my best to find people that are good with technology and people that are good with presenting. And some people might be good with leadership or communication or something. And I'll try and lump those people in together so that they're going to be a little bit more successful. Your third option is to not participate in the group project at all. I have very few people. Once in a while, I'll have some individuals who choose not to participate in the group, but for the most part, it is a lot of fun. Some groups might have a little bit of conflict, but I want to see how you're working through that conflict. So that's all part of this exercise. But if you do opt to not be part of the group, you just please understand that you would be accepting no higher than a C for your grade, because I do want participation, and some students very few students are just happy accepting that. But for the most part, if you want an A or B, the group project is mandatory. Okay. And in the upcoming weeks, we'll talk more about how these projects are set up. I do want to point out, where I do have it highlighted here in the syllabus, that I only need 1 submission. So each of these weeks, with the exception of week 2 is from everybody, but week 4 and on for the group project, I only need 1 submission. So 1 person, it can be anybody in your group, just pick somebody to submit your group's work, and that would be adequate for the group submission. Okay. Opposite of that, we're also going to do peer evaluations. Now, peer evaluations are going to be due by everybody. So each individual, if you have 5 people in your group, I'll need 5 peer evaluations. Okay. What the peer evaluations do is they keep us accountable. They keep you aware of what you're doing and what you're contributing to the group. And on top of that, you're also evaluating the other people in your group. Now, sometimes somebody may not be participating nearly as much. If there's a problem, I'll be looking at these evaluations, and if there's a problem, these evaluations, by the way, are anonymous. So I don't go and say, hey, Jeff, I don't know if we have anybody in this class named Jeff, but Jeff isn't participating at all. We haven't heard from him in weeks, and we don't think that he's good for this group. If for whatever reason I get that, I'll reach out to Jeff, and I won't tell Jeff who contacted me or anything like that. I'll try and work it out, and if it continues to be a problem, we'll explore other options of maybe not having them in a group at all. But anyway, so the peer evaluations are just a way to keep everybody accountable for pulling their weight within the group. All right, I got some questions popping up here. I'll get to those in just a minute. Late assignments, we are on a tight deadline. Most assignments are due on Saturday. All quizzes and project assignments, the submissions are due on Sunday. All the times are midnight. So there's no misunderstanding about that. For week 1, I have week 1 set up a little bit differently. So assignment number 1 is going to be due on Wednesday, and I'll show you where to do all that, submit all that when we get into D2L here shortly. But I did that for a reason. I just want everybody to get familiar with the submission process and how it works, what it looks like, what the papers look like, and then I want you to give feedback on your peers' submissions. Okay. Classroom environment. I think the biggest one, this is pretty straightforward stuff. The only thing that I ask is that, we're very respectful. Many of us come from different cultures, from different backgrounds, and we all have different values. When we get into groups and talk about some of these values, sometimes we might get a little bit heated because we value what we've been through, right? We value our heritage and our histories. So if that happens, just be mindful of that. Just be aware that everybody comes from a different background and everybody values something a little bit differently. So as long as we carry that with us, I generally don't have any major problems. But it does come up once in a while that somebody might be a little fervent or passionate about what they believe and what they're saying, and that's okay. But just come to the discussions with some understanding. That's really the big takeaway here. Exam policy, pretty straightforward. When we get to the midterm and the final, I'll make announcements. You'll have access to it all week, and it will be due, I think, each of them are due by Friday of that week. So just plan accordingly. I also caution you since there is a hard deadline on the exam, take it early. Because what I find, it happens more often than I really care. I do get students that wait till last minute, and then something happens to their computer or their internet that drops them out. On a case-by-case basis, we can certainly work with it. Last semester, I was really, beside myself. Many of you, if you're returning students, you remember this, had fire alarms go off during midterms. That was no fun. So, obviously we can't plan for that sort of thing. So just try and plan ahead and maybe take it on Wednesday or Thursday and not wait till the last minute. And we can probably avoid having to make any kind of exceptions or anything like that. Okay. All right, electronic communication. So one of the things that I get a lot is a misunderstanding of how to reach me the best. The best way to reach me is through D2L, and I'll show you where the general discussion post is, because I'm always on D2L. I'm always looking at your posts. I'm always looking at assignments, and I just answer everything in there. And I like doing it in there because many students have very similar questions. So for example, I think I received, maybe not from this class in particular, but I got about 20 emails this week about, do we need the book? So if instead of answering those 20 at a time, if I just answer that once in D2L, that satisfies that and everybody would be on the same page. So that's kind of why I do everything through D2L. Email is not necessarily the most effective way to reach me compared to D2L. So just keep that in mind. If you do need a little extra support from APA formatting, or with APA formatting or the content, the best way, I always advocate, and I think we have an excellent tutoring service here at ESU. They're great. They're very responsive. They usually turn around and contact you individually within 24 hours. So I've had a lot of great feedback from the tutoring services, and we also have the writing studio, which I believe is co-located with tutoring services. So use those if you need that a little extra support with APA. I do have some resources available that I'll share with you, but if you need a little bit more, please use them for that. Attend scheduled Zoom sessions. Again, I'm going to be doing this Tuesday and Thursday throughout the semester. So if you want to attend, great. If you don't, great. I will have it recorded so that you can review it later. Review the general discussion post, which I'll show you where that is. I think I talked about that. And if you have any personal issues, anything that comes up, please email either me or the LCA. The LCA, our large classroom assistant, who, by the way, I think I put in the announcement, is James Rowe. I don't believe he's with me today. He had something going on, but he should be here with us Thursday. He's here to help. So any questions that you have, he's going to be also in the D2L general discussion and answering questions and helping you along with that. So Use him. He's very accessible and very helpful. And actually, this is his third semester that he's been working with me. He's really great. And I like having him here. So, but outside of that, I think that's really all I have for communication. So the grading I touched upon. This is the point breakdown here. For how I set this course up, again, is for you to decide what grade you want. There's no mystery to it. There's no guessing as to what I'm looking at. It's all right here on page 6, okay? So use this to, if you have any questions about your grade, you'll be able to see what you've turned in, what your scores are, and it's very, very much spelled out here for you. So if you want a grade of A, you'll know that you have to have 13 out of 13 quizzes with 80% or better. Sounds like a lot. It's not. Again, you can take these quizzes as many times as you want to get a better grade. So there's really no reason why you can't get a 80% or better on these grades. One thing I did want to mention with the quizzes is I don't give you the answers. Okay. So if you do get an item wrong, it'll tell you which one you got wrong, but it just won't give you the answer to that. So just be aware of that. I want you to work a little bit for it. But the midterm and the final, 75% or better on each. Very easy to do. Again, study those quizzes really hard. When it comes, our week 7, I have dedicated to reviewing for the midterm. So if you utilize that time, that you're going to do fantastic. I usually get a lot of people that get hundreds on these midterms and finals, so it's very easy to do. Complete 12 out of 13 week assignments or discussion questions. That gives you a little bit of flexibility. I know many of you are very busy. You're probably working. I know the sports have pretty much all the sports are not meeting or competing, but I think I believe like the lacrosse, I think lacrosse is doing something, so I got a couple emails on that. So many of you are very busy and you have other classes. If something falls through and you miss an assignment, it's not the end of the world. You're still eligible to get an A, okay? But you would have to make sure your class turns in 6 out of 6 project assignments and you're completing all 5 of your evaluations, okay? For a grade of B, a little less, still 13 out of 13 with 80% or better on the quizzes. Midterm is the same. However, you can miss another assignment. So 11 out of 13, either assignment or discussion questions and pack back, okay? And you can miss 1 peer evaluation. Maybe you forgot one, but that you would still be eligible for a B. For a C, 1 less weekly assignment or pack back discussion question. So 10 out of 13. A little bit lower on the midterm and final score, just to make it a little bit more fair. And of course, no participation, or if you did participate in groups and you didn't get your projects in, or you got 3 out of 5 peer evaluations done, or something less than what's required for B, you would get a C for the course. And of course, a D is less than 13 quizzes or less than 80% on any of the quizzes, less than 65% on the midterm or final, completing at least 8 out of 13 of the discussion questions or assignments, and no class project. And of course, F is about, I think I looked at it, and it's about minimum of 45 or 50% in the class, which rarely ever happens in my course. So that's really the point breakdown. So if you're ever in question as to what your grade is, you should know what you're on track to doing just by this, okay? The other issue, or the other part of the syllabus here I really want to pay your attention to, is the schedule of events. So the schedule of events is really where your assignments, it lists what your assignments are and when they're due, okay? So I occasionally, we already talked about D2L. I sometimes have problems with D2L. That includes their due dates. Their due dates, sometimes I remove an assignment or I change the due date and it doesn't update in calendar. I struggled with that with one of my 100 classes, where I removed a quiz entirely, and for some reason it was showing it was due. It was, I don't understand it. Sometimes it just happens that way. But if that happens, if there's any question as to what's due and when, your syllabus will tell you what's due and when. So assignment 1, for example, is due Wednesday. Syllabus quiz is due Thursday. Assignment 1 reply is Saturday. And I'll walk you through all that stuff here in just a few minutes. Quiz 1 due by Sunday, and pack back due by Sunday. Okay. And this will just spell out everything, what's due when. Week 7 is the midterm, and then final exam on week 16. Now, the week 15, I have dedicated to presentations and final paper submission. So I'll talk more about that when we get probably over the hump here around week 8, week 9, what that's going to look like. I do like to do live presentations. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit more engaging. So we'll have more information on how we can schedule that here in a bit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go through some of these questions here before I move on to D2L. And okay, let me see where we left off. All right, where do we take so you can place this in the groups? That's going to be due week 2, and I'll show you. I'll show you the setup for D2L here in just a minute. Will we be in the same group for the whole semester? Yes. Unless there's major problems. I haven't had to move anybody ever. Usually I try and get the groups to work it out because that's a necessary skill, is to figure out how to work through these conflicts, right? If there were a major issue, I have had to remove people from the group. Mostly because they didn't want to do the group project. If that happens, we'll have a discussion about it and figure out what we can do to best accommodate this. But for the most part, I've never really had to move anybody from groups to another group. Is there a teaching assistant if we would have to email someone a question? Yes. So James Rowe, again, his information is in the news and announcements, which I'll show you here shortly. But you can contact him if it is, he can answer anything that's course related or assignment related. He's been working with me a long time and very knowledgeable on how I run things. So he is very, very helpful. If you have anything that's really super personal that you're not comfortable talking to a teaching assistant, of course, you're welcome to contact me directly. But most everything you will ever need is going to be in D2L or through James. Okay. All right. So, another question came in here. I just want to make sure I have the correct information, since assignment 1 is a handout that we are filling out. Do you want the responses we fill in the columns to be an APA format? Don't really worry about the first assignment is just kind of a test assignment. So there's not really a whole lot you're going to be doing with APA format with that. So yeah, assignment 1 is not really a big concern. Okay. All right. So let me share my screen with you again. I'll walk you through D2L. Oh, one more question here. Are you going to show us how to access the book? Yes, I will show you how to do that as well. And where's the Dropbox for the handout? All right. It's a good time to get right into D2L. All right, how's everybody doing? Are you still with me? Thumbs up. Okay, all right. All right, so you should be able to see my D2L here, okay? So you click on the top link here and you get into your course, 105, which is what the course that we're in. The first place you're going to be taken to is the home screen. Now, I don't believe you have the class engagement, the course overview. I believe that's just mine. And keep in mind, if you are experiencing any issues with D2L, I have a very different look on my end. And sometimes if you have an error or you're not able to access something, I may not be able to see what you're seeing. So just keep that in mind if you contact me saying you're having a hard time accessing something. Okay. So any major news or announcements that I have for the course, I always put in news. It always, and I usually follow it up with an email if it's something pretty big. So check this area very frequently. It'll give you the most updated information. So for this week, I have our course information, a little bit of an introduction here. Our Zoom sessions will be this same link. So if you want to write it down, cut and paste it. I also have it in a button here in the nav, up here in the nav bar. So if you forget what the Zoom link is, or you don't have it written down somewhere, you can just go to one of these two places and click it, and it'll take you to our class, okay? Communication, again, I kind of just spelled this out, that the best way to get a hold of me is through D2L. I can answer almost all of your questions in there, unless it's something of a personal nature. Of course, then you can contact me directly, okay? Your LCA is James. Here's his contact information. So if anything does come up and you want to ask him a question, you can reach him there. Revel registration. So many of you have purchased your Revel code, and that's great. However, you would need to click this link here to complete your registration. This will take you to the book, the Kale book that we are using for this course. So if you did get your registration code, you can click on this. If you're waiting for your book, you can also click on this. And again, I believe you do have a trial period that you can at least access the material for at least a couple of weeks, okay? Pack back setting. This is similar to what we had seen in the syllabus. So if you did receive a registration email, you can go ahead and just get started with this. And if you didn't, of course, here's the link down here, help@packback.co. Reach out to them and let them know you're in PSY-105, Dr. McMunn's PSY-105 at ESU, and they'll set you up. Zoom recordings, and I'll show you where these are. I do record pretty much all of our meetings here on Zoom, with the exception of I usually hang back after class to talk to people one-on-one and help them out with if they have anything personal or something like that. I turn off the Zoom recording as soon as we're done with the group, okay? If I hang back a little bit, that won't be recorded, so don't worry about that at all. But I'll show you where those recordings will go once they are uploaded. They are closed captioned for many people that have like sound issues or maybe anything with hearing. I usually like to put closed captioning on just so I can see what somebody says, what somebody's saying. So that will be available if you need it. For the content, this is where you're going to be spending. Course home and course content are going to be a majority of where you're spending your time, okay? The course content is how I organize this course. Now, you're seeing a lot of things that, in fact, let me switch to, well, I guess it doesn't matter. You're seeing a lot of things on here that you probably don't see on yours. That's because I have them hidden. I'll release those once I have content written for that. But you'll start here at overview. Of course, I've got a nice little welcome here. So just out of curiosity, for those of you that can't get the syllabus, you can't see anything in here. Is that correct?
Yeah, like I can't see anything.
What it just says unavailable, content unavailable?
Yeah, like it shows that I can click on the syllabus, but then when I click on it, it's just a blank page and it says content unavailable, or like it'll take a long time to load and then it'll just go to a blank screen.
Yeah, that is really, really strange. I'm not experiencing that with any of my other classes. So I did try and upload a PDF and it did give me an error. It wouldn't accept that as a PDF either. So something's going on with D2L. I'll definitely get to the bottom of it and figure out what's happening. So anyway, yes, go ahead.
I just went on Pearson. I redeemed my code a few days ago and it says my course was deleted for this class.
Okay, go back through and re-register with that. Your course code should be good, and follow that link. There was issue with Revel where I had the incorrect book loaded, but that shouldn't affect you. You still have access to Revel, but click on that link that I showed you on the news and announcements. And if you have any problems, contact Revel and they'll work it out. They'll set you up. Okay. And if you have any issues with them at all, let me know. But they should be able to help you. Okay. All right. So moving on, course schedule. This is a very handy tool. It kind of tells you what's due when. I would caution you that this is not always reliable. I told you, I explained to you that we had that glitch with the other class where I removed the entire quiz, and for some reason it showed, and it was really a disaster because it was due the day that it was due yesterday. It showed up as due yesterday, so I had a lot of students that were panicking, wondering why I had a quiz due the day we started. But if that happens, again, refer to the syllabus, and that will be the most accurate, contain the most accurate information. Okay, but this is a great tool when it works. It's just not always 100%. For the course content, I've loaded a lot of resources in here for APA to help you out with the group project, help you out with assignments. I love Purdue OWL. A show of hands, how many of you have used Purdue OWL in the past? Okay, very good resource. It's very user-friendly. I still use it. APA it's a beast. It's really a pain in the neck. But you know, I've worked with it for a good part of probably 12 years now, and I still don't know everything. I once in a while have to go back because something's changed, or I'm not sure what the correct format of something is. So I refer to this as well. This is just I'm not expecting all of you to be experts in this. I just want to see that you're learning how to use it and what it looks like, and you're just becoming familiar with it. Okay. So that's my goal, is just having people familiar with it. So anyway, great resources here. One of the biggest areas I see with APA is not knowing how to do hanging indents. I do have somewhere in here how to create hanging indents. It's a little video. Just click on that and it'll show you how. Many of you are probably using Word. It'll show you how to set that up so you can make hanging indents for your reference page. Okay. All right. Let me let's see. Check out some of the questions we have for total. Okay, where's the Dropbox handout? Just for total clarity, on the schedule of events, when it says discussion, reply, due, that I actually updated in D2L. So if you can see, if you're able to see the syllabus in D2L, that was from the old class, and that's something I had to go back and correct. So there is no discussion or discussion reply. It's only packback. Okay, so packback is due by Sunday midnight. If you have an old syllabus and it says discussion due on Wednesday, reply due on Friday, disregard that. That is not accurate. It's just going to be packback due on Sunday. Okay, so thank you. And to download the document to access it. Okay. When we get the assignment, can you explain the handout assignment? Yes, I will explain that to you. All right. Moving on. So general discussion questions. So general questions are going to be located right here. And if you click on that, it's going to open up. And it looks like we don't have anybody here that really asks anything, which is great. That means that I'm being very thorough in my syllabus and in my instructions. But if you did have a question, and it's something that we didn't cover in the video, you can check through here first and see if somebody else asked that question. If they did, and you want to elaborate further on that, you can respond to them. Or if you're able to help out, say there's a question about an assignment that we covered in the video, and somebody came in, they weren't able to check out the video, and they asked that question here, you can by all means help them out and let them know what you found or the information that you knew. Okay, so this is where all of your, and I look at this daily. So if you have any issues or questions, I'll be able to answer you here. As far, let's see, moving down the line here. So every one of you should be starting at start here for this week. This will be your first task. Just kind of go through the overview, read the syllabus quiz, which is due Thursday, is located here. And then provide just a little, I see some of you have already done that, just provide a quick little introduction, who you are, maybe what your area of study or your major is, and maybe something interesting about yourself, okay? let's see, I actually have these hidden, so you wouldn't be able to see those. So I also provided a link for the group project. All right. So the group project, once we get into our groups, you'll have your own little discussion area. So you'll be able to get into whatever group you're in and then discuss without any of the other classes seeing it or the other groups seeing it. I provided a link for Packback as well as putting them in our weekly assignments. So if you are curious as to what's required with Packback or how to set things up, you can just click on this link and it'll guide you through that. Class videos. Once I have recordings of the videos, I'll label them and I'll place them in here. So if you missed a class and you want to come go back and see what we talked about, you can access that here. Okay. For each week, I have each week broken up pretty much the same. Again, with the exception of week 1 assignment, which is due Wednesday. Tomorrow, this will give you a good sense of what each week is going to look like. So if you click on week 1, the first thing you'll see is overview. You get into overview, and this just gives you a quick little introduction as to what we're going to be discussing that week. So introduction here, and if you it'll highlight the learning objectives. It'll talk about the tasks to be completed for this week, and then you get down to assessments, and this will tell you what's due and when. Another place for you to resource. Okay. Within week 1, also I have resources. So I like, I'm a fan of crash course videos. I don't know, show of hands, how many of you have seen or liked crash course videos? I think he's very energetic. He usually conveys the messages that I also echo, but I'm not nearly as entertaining as he is, and I don't have the cool graphics he does. But great resource. So if there's something that's relevant from Crash Course, I usually try and find it and put it on here. Sometimes I'll put like documentaries or observation videos or something like that. That'll all be located here in the resource section. I also provided chapter lecture slides. Now, I used to do live lectures with these. What I tend to do is pick and pull from these lecture slides, and then this is what I'm going to cover during our class time. And again, it'll be recorded, so you can use it for studying or for references or whatever you like. But I don't cover the entire slide, but it's all available. This is from the publisher, and you're welcome to use it for your quizzes, use it for furthering your understanding. I know that they do sometimes have activities in there. You're welcome to participate. So have at it, and you're it's just another resource for you. If there are any articles that are pertinent, like for working in a college group project, this is a great article on what you can do to be successful in that. Any kind of resources I find are going to be here listed under resources. And for discussion, all that's really going to be put in here is a reminder for Packback, okay, and a link for you to access it. All right. For assessments, this is where all of your assignments, quizzes, group projects, evaluations, anything that's due to turn in will show up under assessment, okay? So for example, quiz 1 is due at 11:59 on September 6th, which is Sunday, and you should have a reminder of that in your calendar. Assignment number 1. For this, pretty simple. So you click on assignment 1 and just follow the directions. So by Wednesday, download this form, which I'll show you here shortly, and fill it out. You can either type it or you can write in it and take a picture and upload it, whatever you want to do. However I think the best way to do it is to download it and digitally send it through. That would be the best way. Complete the form and then click on start a new thread. You can maybe, whatever you want your subject to be, maybe your name and assignment 1 or whatever. I don't believe you have to write anything in here, but if you do, just put like submitted or something like that, and then attach. So click on attach, and then you'll be able to upload your file there, and other students will be able to review it. Now, you won't be able to access these, what everybody else did, until you've submitted yourself. Okay, and I do that for a couple reasons. First of all, to keep everybody honest. If you've submitted your work, the last thing I want is somebody, you know, for this one, everybody, it's very personalized. So, but if there's anybody that had submitted their work, I don't want anybody taking that work and using it as their own. So it is important for you to submit something first, and then you'll be able to see what everybody else is. Now for this assignment, again, don't worry about the APA on this. There's not really much that you can do. It's just filling this out. So read the directions, you know, think of a person. And I know it's hard to really think of somebody that's prenatal, but maybe you know of somebody that had developmental issues prenatally. Maybe they were, maybe the individual or child was born underweight or premature or something like that. So do your best with prenatal. I know it's a bit of a reach, but do your best with that. Infancy, think of somebody that's 0 to 2 and what words you would use to describe them. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm going to go through and see what questions we have here before I get out of this. Okay. Yep. I see some of you were answering. Did I have a link to Revel? Yeah, that's on news and announcements. I can get assignment, but I can't type the doc. Okay. If you can't type the doc, you might be able to cut and paste it into a Word document. If you can't, or download it as a Word document, just maybe print it off or write it in or whatever. I mean, get creative. I'm not going to be too picky about this one. So however you can, if you just want to even send a Word document just with person, you know, break it out the best you can so I can read it, that would be acceptable. I'm not going to be too picky on how you fill this out. As long as you just get the pertinent information in there, that'd be okay. All right. Are we using what we learned in the textbook to fill out assignment 1, or is it just from our knowledge? This is just from your knowledge. This is your personal experience or what you know. It could be somebody famous. It could be somebody you know. It could be yourself, you know, however you want to do that. I know a lot of you are still trying to get your books, so I don't have a whole lot other than the quiz that you have to do from the book today, okay? So I do not see a Dropbox for assignment 1. That's because there is no assignment 1 Dropbox. This is actually in a discussion. I have this in the discussion forum just so other students can review it. All right. Do we put someone else? Okay. All right. So it looks like that's all the questions that I have. All right. How are we doing? We still hanging in there? Thumbs up. All right. All right. So, trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. So what we'll do Thursday is I'll talk a little bit more about research, how to look up material. I mean, some of you probably already know, but accessing the ESU, the Kemp Library, and going through some of those resources there. I'll show that to you on Thursday, as well as maybe delve into a little bit of chapter 1. I'll pick out maybe one of the concepts in there we can talk about. All right. Are there any other questions? You can feel free to ask, unmute your microphone and ask, or put it in the chat box.
So I can put.
Okay, go ahead, Jenna.
So I can put like somebody I know as the person, like anyone, and then just do words.
Yes, yeah. Well, I would, if you could, and maybe I should elaborate on this, don't put any last names, okay? If you want to say my mom or, you know, just try and make it as depersonalized as possible. Don't call somebody out. That would be very, very bad. But, you know, just like my brother or my sister or my aunt or, you know, without identifying who that person is. That I think that would probably be the best way. Or if it's somebody famous, that's okay.
What if I don't know any like infants?
You don't know any, you've never known an infant?
Oh yeah, but like can I put their name but not their last name?
Yeah. Or you could just say my nephew or niece or something like that. Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, please don't use last names on that. I guess I forgot to. I should put that in the instructions as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
We won't be discussing.
Uh,
For the
go, go ahead.
for the textbook thing,
Mhm.
if our textbooks don't come in time when we start using the book, is there like a link that we could go to see a chapter or something, or we have like, what would you do in that situation?
Again, so has anybody tried to get the trial version of Revel? Is that a thing?
There's a 14-day free trial.
14-day free trial. So if you go to news and announcements in D2L, it'll let you click on that link and you should be able to access the book that way for up to 14 days. So if you're waiting for your book, that'd be a great way to do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Wait, so just to clarify, we won't be discussing anything towards like the group projects until week 2?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't have anything loaded just yet on that, but you'll have adequate time to fill it out. It's nothing really big. It's, I think, 15 questions and then whatever you elect. And it's just personal questions like, I prefer to use, presentation technology or something like that. It's nothing major. So don't sweat it. It's just a little quick 15-minute survey, and then whatever your election is for the groups. But like I said, I'll talk to you more on Tuesday about it.
All right, thank you.
How do we add a doc for the assignments?
Yeah, again, if you remember, if you hit Start New Thread under Assignment 1, and then Add Attachment, it should be at the very bottom of that text box. Okay.
Okay,
And if
thank
you
you.
need to see that again, you can review this video, and it'll show you where I pointed that out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are using Google Docs though? There should be a way to be able to switch it to like a document too, because I had trouble with that last semester. Some people have trouble.
Okay.
If they're using Google Docs to submit documents.
Yeah, I know Google Docs. I'm set up to receive Google Docs, by the way. So if you put the link, I can usually access it that way. I know not everybody has Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or anything like that. So yeah, I'll work with you if you have Google Docs and you don't have any other way to get it to me. Hey, James, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I was
Hey,
able to, my class just ended, so I was able to hop in real quick.
Okay, everybody, this is your LCA, James. We're talking fondly about you.
Hopefully good things.
All good things, always. So anyway, yeah, if you need anything, by all means, get a hold of James, and between the two of us, we'll certainly get you the information you need. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So I'm going to stop recording. I like to leave a few minutes at the end. So if any of you have any questions that you don't want recorded, I'll certainly be available to do that. But I'm stopping recording right now.